Yeah, wow. Yeah, let's do that.
Right, okay. I'm going to take this off. So I look semi... Right, hi everyone. So today with my Relevant Conversations, I'm with Nigel. Nigel is the head of, it's entrepreneur strategy and entrepreneurship.
Yeah, the Professor of Entrepreneurship at Lancaster University.
At Lancaster University.
Yeah.
And I'm at Lancaster doing a couple of things, so I will fill you in on that later. So I thought I'd have just an interesting conversation. First of all, Nigel's a really interesting career path, from entrepreneur to an academic. So that's interesting, and I want to hear a little bit about that.
Yeah.
It'd be interesting to just hear your thoughts on, now that you're sort of working across Africa and with RECIRCULATE. Your thoughts on just entrepreneurship in the space.
Yeah.
Where you think it's going.
Yeah.
What you think maybe we should be doing better, because we always need to do better, right?
Yeah.
So everyone, welcome Nigel. Hi.
Hello, Ethel. Good to speak to you again.
Good.
On our day trip out.
Yes. So we're just to give a bit of context, where are we now?
We're in Blackwell, which is an arts and craft house,
right,
which was built 100 years ago from the wealth of an entrepreneur who bought land overlooking the lakes here in the Lake District, and got artisans to make everything in the house, from the fireplaces, the furniture, everything. So the arts and crafts movement's all about celebrating the skill that people have and keeping the margin, if we're talking about business, close to the production. Right. So if you imagine someone like John Ruskin, who was a famous Victorian thought leader around this whole movement, he would say, well, why don't the miners of the copper learn to beat the copper to make it into the panels that the church wants, and keep the margin and the skill close to the source of the raw material, rather than the model of somebody buys the raw material, adds all the value, and the miner just gets the wage for digging it out.
That's true.
And it's a philosophy that I think has a global significance, because we're all about globalization, but actually what about the value of our own skills, our own heritage, and how we keep the value close to it. So I think there's a message there, even now in all the technology, that everything's instant, but actually we need to sometimes value the person who made this.
All right, okay. Now this is an amazing view. I will take some shots and cut them in so
I can see the view.
This is a really amazing view. Okay, Nigel, right. So I met you last year, this year?
In Accra. No, it was in Accra in February.
In February, right? So at Lancaster, Ghana. And we spent a week, and then I Googled you up, and first you have a book on. He has a book on entrepreneurship.
Hi. Hello.
Hi.
Oh, do you want to pause the video?
That's fine.
Yeah.
Okay, so where were we?
We were interrupted, weren't we?
What
were you going to ask me? Oh yes, we were together, weren't we?
So it's 1 week, and then so bits and pieces of your story. So you have a book on entrepreneurship. You're a professor of entrepreneurship and innovation. So you used to be an entrepreneur. Tell me a little bit about that.
I would say I'm still an entrepreneur.
Okay.
It's just that I do it in a different place.
Fair enough.
So I think entrepreneurship is about a whole set of skills. So being an entrepreneur in a big organisation, it's different, but the same skills are there. So you are very entrepreneurial.
Right.
You would be entrepreneurial whether you're running a network, a company, a government. You would just
government.
Why not a country? Ethel, aim high.
All right.
So for me, I learned being an entrepreneur with starting my own business. My brother and I can remember the date, but I'm not going to tell you because it makes me feel so old. But we founded the business together. He worked in a corporate, a Campbell's Food, and I worked in a small business. And we launched it together, and it was just Tim and I together to start with. And then over the course of 8 years, we grew it always very fast, always never had enough money, always had more ambition than our resources.
Yes.
And we always borrowed, but we grew it to about 100 people, and we were the market leader in our sector. And we were a community, so we supplied healthcare into the community. So all sorts of material, mainly consumables that people use all the time. So a tradition in the UK used to be that you ordered your milk and it was dropped every morning at your house. We call it a milk round. So it doesn't happen anymore because we've got this thing called supermarkets. But it used to be dairy, bottle the milk, a little electric float, drop the milk outside your house every morning. So what we developed was a milk round, but for community supplies. So every week, the supplies you needed to run your community care facility were delivered to you. And that was a very economical way of doing it. And we grew, and as I say, we started doing all sorts of different things. We turned over about 24 million pounds a year. We became a PLC by merging with a part of a much bigger company, and CR Robin there. So we did that for 10 years.
10 years of running a company that 24 million turnover. I can imagine how exhausting that is.
Always never having enough money.
As it is in entrepreneurship, because your ambition is bigger. The size of your ambition grows, the bigger you grow.
That's right.
Oh, so when you say community health, like, can you explain a little bit about
tradition in the UK, healthcare has been done in hospitals. But it's very expensive for people to be in hospitals. So gradually we developed a system where people would stay in community facilities. It might be a community home, it might be sheltered housing, it might be more intensive, even nursing care. And these little institutions dotted around, often private run or council run, have consumables, paper, medical supplies, all those things, and cleaning materials, and all those things have to be supplied. And we developed the business doing that. And the reason we started it is because my job was to run one of those facilities. And I said to my brother one Christmas, do you know, the service we get is appalling. Somebody should do something about it. Somebody out there must do something. Right, so that's so. But you left your job, like, so from that conversation with your brother at Christmas, what then happened? Well, we then raised enough money. I borrowed money from the bank. Tim sold a house. He gave up his job. I kept my old job. I did 2 jobs for maybe 3 or 4 years. No wonder.
How are you still?
I'm only 30.
You've aged really well.
So that was. So we launched the business and grew it together. And in fact, I was with Tim yesterday, my brother, and he still runs a company that does a very similar job. So we eventually were acquired by another company. And I left then, and then that's when I started going into academia. By accident, really. But he stayed in the industry, and then I helped in 2000. I helped him set up another business, which he now runs as the MD, and that's turning over 20 million turnover and 70 staff and market leader.
It's a good chunk of change.
Yeah, it is, and he works really hard. Well, I do, but he works. But entrepreneurs have to work really, really hard, and nobody tells you that, does they?
No.
Become an entrepreneur.
Follow your dream.
Yeah, but in fact, it's not. It's hard work.
Yeah,
very hard work.
It's plowing in every day, waking up every day, and consistently working at the dream and chipping away at the problem.
So what I do now, if I'm honest, is I use those same skills, but in a university. So I get involved in leadership roles. I bring people together, try and create a shared vision, enact the vision, exactly what you do every day as an entrepreneur. So it's just my context is different.
The context is different.
So, and I think actually, I call it enterprise rather than entrepreneurship. Because entrepreneurship people associate normally with new startup, whereas actually enterprise, I say, it includes startup, but it includes social enterprise, and it includes being entrepreneurial in government, in hospitals, anywhere, in universities. So the key skill for me, my passion, you might say, is how do I share that knowledge that enterprise can change the world for good? You know, of course, I understand that we all need to earn a salary. Some people have aspirations for great wealth, but in doing these things, using these entrepreneurial skills, we change the world because we enrich people's lives. you know, it's fantastic.
Do you not miss the fast pace and not having enough money and
No,
the
I
stress
don't.
do you not miss that?
Well, I don't miss being in the critical line. So
Right.
as MD, it would always end up on my desk.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it could end up any time. So I enjoy the freedom of not being tied to that, how much we sold this month.
Right.
Yeah. Can we pay the wage bill? To more now dealing with the complexity of being a small part of a much bigger thing.
Right.
So I'm in charge of my little bit. I don't run the university, so I've always got to be mindful.
Oh, yeah.
Yep, gaining permission. Whereas
Right.
an MD,
You did what you want. This is true.
does anyone tell you what to do, Ethel?
Clients do.
Yeah, but that's different because they're a customer, and if you wanted, you could say, "I don't want you."
No,
as a
it's true.
customer."
I have fired a few clients.
Exactly. I think, well, to me, that shows real business maturity because what you've done is you've moved through that phase of, God, anyone who'll supply, be a customer, I'll take you, to, no, I don't think you're good enough to be a customer.
Yeah, I know. I think it's a good place to be in. Right. So you said you accidentally became an academic.
Yeah.
Can you talk to us about
Well, I
what
went
that
back
accident
to.
was?
Well, I think you did a master's, didn't you?
Yeah.
Ethel at Brighton. And so when I sold my business, I didn't know what to do because I thought, oh, who would want to employ an MD? I mean, who would employ someone who could run their business?
Right.
So I thought, well, I'm not really employable. So I better think about my next business.
Entrepreneurs are really employable.
They are now. Well,
Really?
well, wouldn't you, if you had a hospital, want an entrepreneur running, doing
To run
business?
it? Fair
not,
enough.
not me, yeah. So anyway, but not everyone knows that yet. So what happened is I went back to university to do a master's in information technology
Okay.
because one of the things running a business, high growth business, technology was critical in all sorts of ways, and I could never delegate it. Nobody seemed to understand the technology and the business. I couldn't recruit someone who did that.
Right.
So I thought, gosh, I'll go and do a degree, a master's in information technology.
Right.
So that's what I did. I'd already set up my next company, and somebody said, oh, Nigel, this is about halfway through my master's. Would you be interested in doing a PhD? And I thought, no, why would I want to do a PhD? Why? So then they said, well, we could pay you a small salary, and we could give you your fees will be paid, and then I was doing a project for Hewlett Packard,
Right.
and they said, oh, well, we would be interested in sponsoring you a bit as well.
Right.
So it ended up being almost like an entrepreneurial PhD.
Yeah.
So that's and then I've just got my fourth child just been born,
Right.
and you'll know this. As an entrepreneur, I had very little time to do anything that wasn't about the business.
Yeah.
So suddenly, somebody offered me a chance to be a dad.
Yeah.
And
Spend
I
more
thought-
time at home. You're
I
just
thought,
like, I'll take it.
wow, I could read my children's stories. At night.
I know.
So I did a PhD, partly because it was there, and also I thought, well, maybe this is an opportunity to explore more what I want to do. The fact I still don't know what I want to do means it wasn't successful, but I did read a few bedtime stories.
That's good. No, I've been toying with the idea of a PhD for years now. But I can't take the time out.
I know, and it is a dilemma. And of course, one thing about being an entrepreneur and doing a PhD is that if you do it part-time, which you'd probably have to do, you're a nightmare for the supervisor, because the supervisors want PhDs in 4 years,
Right.
and yet you would have to take
6,
4, 5, 6.
yes, yeah.
So then you've got to find an entrepreneur a PhD supervisor who can tolerate that
Level of lax and not turning up on time and all the things that come with, this is not ready yet.
Yeah.
That sort of thing. Yeah. I don't know. So if somebody has a PhD out there, that might be interesting.
Yeah, it would be interesting.
It would be interesting too.
Ethel, I think we need to go and have lunch now.
Yeah, so we're going to pause the video and go and have lunch, and then we will come back and continue.
Maybe in a different space.
Yeah, in the saga of Nigel, the saga of the entrepreneurial academic.